and welcome to this webinar to know about the business opportunities and the investment opportunities in Sri Lanka. I believe already you're aware that this year Sri Lanka is going to host the CACCI 39th Annual Conference and Expo in Sri Lanka at the Cinnamon Life Hotel from 10th to 11th November 2025. We would like to invite all of you to Sri Lanka and most of the countries in the world, or altogether 40 countries. You don't need to apply visa, but you can still do the online application. Our Sri Lankan Airlines also come as a joint partner for this project, and they are offering a special discounted airfare for your travel for this event. So I will not take much time to explain about the SCACCI event. Towards the end, there will be a short video for you to understand what that event is all about and about Sri Lanka. So let me introduce the two speakers today. First, Revan P. Wickramasuriya, who's the Director General, Port City, Colombo. Mr. Wickramasuriya has over 30 years international experience in financial service across Sri Lanka, Australia, Middle East, and Africa. CFA USA and CIMA UK. He has advised central banks, financial institutions, multinationals on risk management and financing solutions. In 2021, upon his return to Sri Lanka, he joined the Colombo Port City Economic Commission and currently serves as the Director General. So let me introduce Renuka M. Weerakone, who is the Director General of the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka. With a distinguished career spanning over 35 years, Ms. Renuka Weerakone has played a pivotal role in strengthening Sri Lanka's investment framework and driving economic growth through foreign investment, professionally trained as an attorney at law and a notary public and commissioner of oaths. She also holds a master's degree in business administration from the Postgraduate Institute of University of Sri Jayawardenepura. Altogether, her career, she has led numerous investment promotion missions to the key global markets and represented Sri Lanka in international forums and trade negotiations. In addition to her leadership at the BOI, Ms. Weerakone served as the board member of the International Chamber of Commerce Sri Lanka and the Export Development Board, while contributing to several national project approved committees in critical sectors such as education, power, and environment. She was recently honored with the prestigious Women in Investment and International Trade Leadership Award, the Top 50 Professionals in Career Women Global Awards 2025. In recognition of her visionary leadership and the exceptional contribution to achieving investment and trade in Sri Lanka and beyond. So let me pass on to Revan first for his presentation.
I will start off with a presentation on the Colombo Port City. Quickly, a bit of a background. The Colombo Port City is a reclaimed piece of land, which is an extension of the Colombo Business District in the heart of the city. The land reclamation covered 2.69 square kilometers, and that reclaimed piece of land has been converted into a special economic zone under a piece of legislation called the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act, number 11 of 2021. I would quickly take you through what the Colombo Port City Economic Commission and this newly established Special Economic Zone is all about. As I mentioned, this gives a quick snapshot of what has been achieved over the last 5 to 8 years in one of Sri Lanka's largest foreign direct FDI-driven investments. We have reclaimed 269 hectares of land, with 178 hectares of that land available for development. 91 hectares of land have been created as public spaces to ensure that the developments that take place are properly planned and well managed, creating an environment where people can live, work, and enjoy a world-class lifestyle in a master planned city. The land area that has been reclaimed is expected to be built up with approximately 6.4 million square meters of built up floor area. The buildings that are envisaged to come across or to be established or developed can range from residential or purely residential developments of approximately 20 to 40 meter height to extremely tall high-rise developments or mixed developments going up to even as high as 350 meter. Following the $1.4 billion invested to date in the land reclamation and developing the infrastructure, the expectation is that this investment would attract approximately 12 to $14 billion of additional investment for what we call the vertical development. When fully developed, it is expected to have a population of approximately 270,000 people living and, if necessary, working there as well. Total employment opportunities within this development is expected to be approximately 143,000. My next slide quickly gives you a snapshot of what is being developed across the 6.3 million square meters of GFA that's expected to come up. Looking at the location of Colombo from the South Asian subcontinent perspective, right, and identifying the fact that Colombo is by far one of the most livable cities in this subcontinent, 51% of the buildings are expected to provide residential spaces, high-rise and low-rise condominiums, and even luxury freestanding villas. When you have so much of residential space, it is important to have retail space, entertainment space, cultural spaces, spaces looking at education, healthcare, etc. Identifying the need for those types of developments and businesses, approximately 25% of the rest of the developed area has been earmarked for retail, for hospitals, of universities, and other educational facilities. The expectation is that operators from across the world would come in and establish these types of businesses in the Colombo port city. After all this, there is about 25% earmark for commercial offices, commercial spaces, which we expect to be taken up by businesses, global businesses, trading hubs, regional offices, etc., that are looking to be based in this region and cater to the South Asian subcontinent, and then the broader East Asia and or the Middle East, all of which can have exceptional connectivity to and from the heart of Colombo. The master planned city, as you can see in this diagram or this slide, is broken up into 5 precincts. You have what's called the island living, which is the low-rise residential plots, going into medium-rise mixed-use development. Then you have the Central Park area, which is again slightly higher-rise mixed developments. At the northern end, you have what's called the International Island, which will host one of the largest developments in this master plan city of an integrated resort across 16 hectares, a convention center across 5 hectares. And the convention center would be of international standard and catering to the MICE market or MICE tourism that is originating from the broader region. And then, of course, the internationally recognized schools, universities, hospitals, etc. On the right, you have what we call the financial district or the business district, which would host the high-rise buildings, mixed development primarily, which we expect to see filled with the regional businesses, the trading hubs, the offices for high net worth individuals, family offices, etc. The last part on the blue and the right-hand side is what we call the Marina District, which will host a world-class marina for approximately 180 to 200 vessels with an iconic hotel and a couple of residential parcels of land. Again, when you look at the South Asian subcontinent, when you look at from Dubai to Singapore or further afield to Malaysia, we believe the marina located here would be state-of-the-art and one that does not exist to date in this subcontinent. The other important point to note is because of the land reclamation and the work carried out with a breakwater that protects, an offshore breakwater that protects this whole piece of reclaimed land, the marina and the beach and the lagoon environment that is created is what we consider an all year round marina and a beach, which will not be impacted by the monsoonal weathers that are generally prevalent in countries in the Asian subcontinent. As I mentioned earlier, the Special Economic Zone was created on the back of a piece of legislation passed in 2021 called the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act, which has been created as a progressive, policy-driven document that is there to facilitate investors coming into Sri Lanka and the port city and investing in what we expect to be world-class developments. They have ensured the ability for granting a visa framework for investors, the ability for investors to bring in as many employees as they choose from overseas, a specially created bank account to ensure that the monies they earn in foreign currency would be ring-fenced and managed in a manner that facilitates and is conducive for businesses, investors, residents to live, work, and operate out of the special economic zone. As I mentioned, the commercial spaces that are expected to be built up in this area, the idea is, or the expectation is for businesses such as the IT and the ITES enabled services, financial services, shipping logistics, any type of professional services, corporate headquarters, and regional distribution centers, trading offices, etc., to be based out of the port city and operate in the broader region. Of course, very important is the tourism sector. I mentioned that the largest land plot or the land parcel in this special economic zone is a 15-hectare parcel for developing an integrated resort. And then there are 5 other land parcels specifically for developing hotels, clearly highlighting the fact that Sri Lanka is focused on improving its participation in the global tourism industry. Sri Lanka has always been known for tourism, and we expect the Colombo Port City to be a catalyst at driving this agenda of the government and creating significant opportunities for investors who are looking to capture the opportunities that would be created by the growth in the tourism sector. Sri Lanka is not new to SEZ. My colleague Renuka, who will speak after me, is in charge of approximately, or manages, the Board of Investment manages approximately 15 SEZs. And some of the SEZ she manages goes back 45 years. So the Colombo Port City, I would say, is the baby in terms of SEZs. But we are, I would say, the first multi-services SEZ. Unlike the other SEZs we have in Sri Lanka, spanning the breadth and width of this country, which primarily focus on light manufacturing and certain industries, certain sectors, the Colombo Port City is purely focused on the services sector. The government identified the need to ensure the growth of the services sector, using the location of Sri Lanka to expand the services sector, which can contribute to and create an ecosystem that will service the broader region we are located in. And this is multi-services SEZ has investment protection laws, a very clearly drafted dispute resolution process, green channel for visas, enhanced capital mobility, and foreign currency, and all transactions are limited to foreign currency. So this slide touches on some of the advantages for businesses to establish themselves and operate within the Colombo Port City Special Economic Zone. Broadly speaking, given the need to attract foreign direct investment to carrying out the vertical developments or the leasing of the land parcels and then carrying out developments, the government came up with an incentive framework as laid out in this slide. Starting off with a minimum investment of $100 million, one could end up with a total in tax incentive period of 10 years, where you're exempted totally from corporate income tax. The next slab is from 100 to 500. You could have a tax incentive of up to 12 years, and 1,000 million or $1 billion, you would have a tax or above investments above $1 billion, you would have a tax incentive of 15 years. And this investment would be plowed into leasing the land for up to a tenure of 99 years and then carrying out the development on that parcel of land. What is very important to note is, given that this special economic zone has been created by Act of Parliament in 2021, the land which was initially owned by the government under a presidential decree or an order, under a piece of legislation called the State Land Ordinance Act or the State Land Ordinance, the president in August 2021 entrusted these 269 hectares with under the commission to administer and to lease out. So any investor coming in from anywhere in the world would be executing a lease agreement with the government of Sri Lanka as the lessor. And you have the assurances that your counterparty is a sovereign state. Over and above the corporate tax exemptions, what we also realize is we need to give an incentive to the developer or the investor to be able to import the raw materials or the project-related goods during the project implementation period. And for investments of 100 million, you would have a project implementation of 5 years, 100 to 500 million or more than 500 million, 6 years, 500 to a billion, you would have a project implementation period of 6 years, and over $1 billion, you would have a project implementation period of 8 years. What does this give you? This gives you the ability to import your materials for the development work from your market or the country you come from or any other location, exempt from the applicable border tariffs or the import duties, which can also be significant when you look at certain construction related materials. Key reasons why the port city, we believe, is an attractive attractive proposition. It has a world-class business hub in South Asia and the ability to provide premium office, retail, and residential, and most importantly, entertainment spaces. Colombo is by far the most livable city with best-in-class infrastructure, easily accessible via direct connectivity over 45 countries. Again, when you're looking at the South Asian subcontinent, which possibly gives you access to approximately a quarter of the world's population, and some of the fastest growing cities, countries, etc. I spoke about the attractive fiscal incentives that you would benefit from or you would be entitled to when operating here. And we believe this is an unparalleled opportunity for certain businesses in the IT and the business services space to be located here as a regional or even a global hub, and to be a hub for exporting the services they provide to markets across the world. Colombo also, we believe, is one of the most investor-friendly market when you look at the region we are operating in. And last but not least, which we believe is very critical to a lot of investors and a lot of developers, a sharp Colombo Port City has been designed on the back of very detailed environmental impact assessment reports following global standards and ESG goals. And this is a very big focus for any development activity that is expected to be completed within this SCZ. My last slide here is of the master plan. I alluded the 269 hectares of land, which is split across 74 marketable plots. And as you can see, the lighter colors more to the south or the left of the screen, and the bottom of the screen are the low-rise residential plots at about 40-meter elevation. And then as the color darkens, the orange ones, the brown ones, and the red ones are where you come up with the high-rise mixed development opportunities. Again, clearly highlighting for a property developer, the opportunity is massive. The breadth and width of the type of investment they can choose is very, very wide. This slide is what we call a 5 to 8 year or 5 to 10 year rollout plan, showing what properties we expect to see development activity starting on. The integrated resort on the top left hand is under negotiations with investors coming out of Japan and Europe. Sorry. The next plot there, and we are in discussions. The expectation is, if all goes well, possibly by about January, for lease agreements to be executed. The land parcel there at 15 hectares is sort of expected to cost approximately $400 million investment for the land alone, and possibly another $700 million to $800 million for the development activity in the integrated resort. This is sort of being modeled off, some would say, Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. Then we have the luxury beach villas, which is a 10-hectare plot for standalone high-end villas, each one with its own water access and an internal lagoon and a waterway with the ability to berth sort of small to medium-sized pleasure crafts. The purple plots you see here are which I spoke to you about, the hotel plots, luxury beachfront hotel. The next one is iconic hotel, which will overlook the marina. And next to the integrated resort on the top there's another opportunity for a hotel. Again, to capture the MICE tourism or to cater to the MICE tourism, and then to actually cater to beach living, luxury marina living, etc. We have a premium branded international school that's expected to come up, as is the case for a hospital and a university. The commission is in the process of launching a proposal or putting out a request for RFP to identify potential investors into these types of developments. At the moment, we have seen interest from hospital operators, school operators, university operators from India, Australia, the UK, etc. what we expect to see is this picking up once we formally launch the process. The marina development at the bottom here is what we expect. Work is already started, and opposite that is another development for what we call a marina residential tower. And then the orange plot on the bottom right-hand side is also a large mixed development project that is being termed the Colombo International Financial Center. We expect to see breaking ground in the next 6 months, 6 to 9 months. My last slide again talks on sustainability, which we spoke on. As you can see, the city has been developed as a green lung for Colombo. This green in the middle is a central park, and you have across the breadth and width, you have green corridors, which will make it pedestrian friendly and environmentally friendly. The incentives have also been given to developers who meet certain standards on green building. They would be given an incentive in terms of a higher GFA that they can build on the identified plot. There is a priority for non-motor transport within the city or light motor transport, and the red line in between has the infrastructure is in place, or the opportunity for an investor to come in and develop a light rail within this city, expected to house approximately 250,000 people. I think with that, I would end my presentation. I hope what I've laid out is provided some information and some clarity on what the government of Sri Lanka is trying to achieve by the creation of this first services sector, residential sector, special economic zone. And then we look forward to moving on to questions. I will hand over to Renuka to take you through her presentation and what the Board of Investment does.
Sri Lanka, a nexus between the East and West, where past, present, and future coexist in perfect harmony. Moving beyond traditional industrial sectors, this is an island in transition. Today, Sri Lanka continues to serve as a regional hub for trade and commerce. At the heart of the Indian Ocean, this is the perfect gateway to Asia, with the vision of transforming into a competitive, sustainable, and digital economy. Sri Lanka offers investors a world of opportunity, promising more growth in a diverse range of sectors that include cutting-edge apparel solutions to the automotive supply chain in the forefront of innovation, next-gen transportation, harnessing nature's power, finest produce to redefine the flavors of the world. Unlock your full potential through continuous learning, creative thinking, and innovative digital ingenuity. A bustling logistics hub where state-of-the-art technology meets seamless coordination, streamlines the flow of goods and services. Make use of a rapidly growing infrastructure with state-of-the-art connectivity, including fiber optic communications. The world's favorite island getaway. With its pristine beaches, crystal clear waters, and vibrant local culture, it's no wonder tourists from around the globe flock here year-round. This idyllic destination offers a perfect blend of relaxation and adventure, making it a top choice for travelers seeking both tranquility and excitement. Settle into ultra-modern living conditions where unparalleled comfort and convenience await, alongside abundant opportunities for leisure and enjoyment. Facilitating and guiding you through every step of your investment journey is the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, one of South Asia's foremost investment promotion agencies. The BOI has successfully onboarded several top global enterprises to invest in Sri Lanka. We are making investments more accessible to you. The BOI is your first point of contact, providing information, guidance, and coordinating with other line agencies for necessary approvals. With over 1,600 enterprises in operation, the BOI has 15 export processing zones island-wide, with more zones being developed. BOI enterprises account for 65% of national exports and 85% of Sri Lanka's industrial exports, while employing over 500,000 Sri Lankans. Invest now in Sri Lanka, the island of tomorrow.
Firstly, I think it's very opportune that we have had this the webinar organized by both the Confederation of Asia Pacific Chambers and Commerce and Industry, as well as the Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry of Sri Lanka, to bring a spotlight on what the port city as well as the rest of the country offers to investors. So the Board of Investment itself is an organization of the government which attracts investments and facilitates investments in the country. And it is also the agency that sets up export processing zones in order to provide ready-to-invest sites for investors. So BOI itself has a long history of having facilitated investors with over 45 years. So we have that experience and the know-how to handhold you throughout your journey in Sri Lanka. The importance of Sri Lanka, I believe all of you would be aware that Sri Lanka is situated in a very strategic location. We are the gateway to South Asia, and we are positioned in the crossroads of major east-west shipping routes. Colombo Port is the most busiest port in South Asia, offering efficient global connectivity. And we can see that with the rapid post-crisis recovery, that investments and exports are thriving, and we see an exponential growth in that area. The strong potential Sri Lanka offers for tourism, manufacturing, ICT, and agri-value added products is again undisputed. The rising middle class and urbanization also fuels a lot of domestic market expansions. Why Sri Lanka is important is also because of the FTAs that we hold with both India and Pakistan, Singapore and Thailand, which was newly signed up, as well as the zero duty market access that you get into the EU markets with tariff-free or preferential tariff lines. So those are some of the compelling factors that any investor would be very interested in when they're looking at a new destination for investments. On top of this, the high literacy rate of over 90% and the strong English proficiency in our workforce helps foreign investors to set up and train and upskill our workers to work in the environment that the new investors are seeking to employ them. And this is very well supported by initiatives of the government in terms of vocational and technical education. Another area that is something I would like to highlight is that 100% foreign ownership is permitted in Sri Lanka for your projects. And when you do your operations and you want to repatriate your profits, again, it is permitted 100%. There are no restrictions in the repatriation of profits. And on top of this, you would be comforted to know that foreign investments is guaranteed by the Constitution of Sri Lanka itself. And we are also in line with, we have very strong intellectual property laws in line with the World Intellectual Property Organization regulations. So this, I think, is something that any investor would look at in terms of the confidence they would place in a territory which Sri Lanka offers you. I would now like to give you an idea of how the BOI operates. How we operate is in terms of the sectors that we promote, which is displayed on this slide. And in different sectors, we have different thresholds for investments. So for example, the lowest would be in the education sector with 100,000 USD, and the largest would be at 12.5 million in the large-scale infrastructure projects. So in between, you get the warehousing, the manufacturing, tourism, etc., which would give you an idea what is the quantum of investments required in the particular sector that you are looking at. And when you do come and set up with the BOI and you sign up an agreement, what we offer would be the customs duty exemptions for your capital goods, for your plant, machinery, equipment, construction items during the implementation period. And if you are an exporter, you would get lifetime exemption even for your raw materials and renewed capital and machinery that you would, capital goods and machinery that you would need to bring in. Considering larger scale investors, if you bring in about a 50 million USD investment, you would also get the benefit of being exempted from the port and airport levy, as well as any cess that is applicable on goods that are being brought in. The corporate tax in Sri Lanka remains at 30%. And what we offer investors currently is the enhanced capital allowance for investors that invest over 3 million US dollars in fixed assets. So if you have depreciable assets, then you are eligible to depreciate that 100% from the first year of commercial operations, and you will be able to carry forward losses up to 10 years. So this is a very good mechanism through which it is in an indirect way, it is as good as a tax holiday. So that is something I would like to bring to your attention. And we also, through the Board of Investment, offer you visas up to 5 years for the investor, the CEO, the top management, and even your worker visas are handled through the BOI. It is an online process where you apply for the staff that you would need, skilled technical people that need to come in, and we would recommend it, and it would be going through after the defense clearance into the immigration. So it's a very streamlined process, and we offer you a long-term visa. The next 5 years of sectoral opportunities, I will focus on 4 main sectors, which is the tourism, manufacturing, ICT, and digital economy, and the agriculture processing sectors. Looking at the tourism, I believe that you may be aware that Sri Lanka is named as a must-visit country in this year, and we have grown in leaps and bounds in terms of our tourist arrivals. We have, in the last year, received 2 million tourists, which was big for us because we had seen a drop in our tourism sector. And we are, by September of this year, we have seen 1.7 million that have come into the country. And our target is a 3 million to be realized in terms of arrivals to Sri Lanka this year. In the medium term, when you're looking at the 2030 arrivals, we are expecting 4 to 5 million tourists to be here. So tourism not only is in terms of the boutique resorts, etc., that you can do. We are looking at wellness and experience tourism. We are looking at the coastal adventure tourism, and as well as support and ancillary services in terms of training institutes, etc. So whatever you're looking at within this sector is possible in Sri Lanka. Looking at the agriculture and agro-processing, the agriculture contributes to 8% of the GDP of Sri Lanka. And our main exports at the moment are in the tea and coconut-based product sector. But there is a lot of room for technology and innovation for the agri-startups and for the AI-based agriculture sector projects to come in. And as well as the very high demand area of organic products that can be grown in Sri Lanka for the export markets. So we are promoting a lot of smart and sustainable farming, where we would encourage for the climate smart irrigation, sensor-based crop management, etc., to come into Sri Lanka and to utilize the tropical environment that we have in Sri Lanka, which will support the agriculture sector in a very good manner. Emerging opportunities in the IT and the digital economy. Here again, we are looking at the shift towards going towards more of the AI and the automation. And here we also see the digital skills, the workforce that need to be developed. So the area is very vast, and this is an area that we are really focused on in terms of even wanting to set up other than our export processing zones. We have now identified lands where we want to build tech parks. So there is a lot of opportunity for investors who are looking at development of tech parks, who would want to take on it as an operator and also fill it with investors to come and set up. The current exports of the sector in terms of software is about US dollars 1.4 billion, and the target is 5 billion in the coming years by 2030 at the least. So there again, we have a lot of opportunities in the ICT and the digital economy, and would draw your attention to that area as well as an emerging sector. In the manufacturing, of course, we have a lot of lots of types of manufacturing happening in Sri Lanka. Solid tires, for example, Sri Lanka produces about 33% of the solid tires that go out into the world by top brands. And we are also into light engineering, into component manufacturing, devices, as well as into green manufacturing. So here again, manufacturing is an endless opportunity in terms of what you want to set up and do in Sri Lanka. We are trying to see how we can link up our manufacturers to create value chains so that you can also benefit from the global integration. So this is something manufacturing has been one of our strongholds. And we have companies that have been with us for over 30 odd years in Sri Lanka, not only here, but they have been expanding, they have been reinvesting, they have been bringing in new funds to grow along with our country. And this is a sector that is very strong in Sri Lanka. Our workers are very trainable and highly efficient and in terms of their skills. So other than the typical rubber or the other sectors, I mean, we are also very big in apparel in terms of the products that we send out to the world, to global brands. So manufacturing is something that I would encourage you to look at specifically. As I told you at the beginning, Sri Lanka's Board of Investment not only attracts and facilitates investments, we also set up export processing zones. Of the 15 that Revan also spoke of, we have now graduated to 17, adding 2 more. And we are in the process of also setting up new additional 3 zones in the north of the country. Because if I can just show you this map, the zones that we currently have are more towards the western and the southern side. So what we have identified, the new ones would be in the north and in the east of the country. And here again, the opportunities lie for companies that would want to set up their own zones where we could give them larger portions, and they would be able to bring investors in to set up in those zones and export out of Sri Lanka. Having said that, I would like to invite all of you to please take a look at Sri Lanka in context of what has been presented to you, and to communicate with us and engage with the Board of Investments for your next investment. Thank you.
There are some questions. I think I will direct one to Renuka. Are there any special incentive schemes under consideration to bring foreign capital?
Yes. Currently, we have been able to discuss with the policymakers and come to an agreement where the Strategic Development Projects Act, which was in abeyance for a while, where we would revive it, and concessions in terms of tax holidays and exemptions from other pieces of legislation in terms of the VAT or the PAL, etc., would be exempted for investors, then come in with a certain threshold of investments. So that is something very positive that I would like to tell our investors. There would be tax holidays that would be offered under the Strategic Development Projects Act, which has now also been officially announced by the government. So it'll be a matter of legislation, and then we would be able to facilitate you under that.
There's another question to BOI. How is the BOI evolving in its service and investor facilitation mechanism to attract more investment and startups? I think already you have touched on this in your presentation. This came a little early, but you can briefly give an answer.
Yes. So what we are trying to do is to digitize as much as possible so that the investor's journey is very smooth as far as they are concerned, without having to make physical visits to the BOI. So in that regard, we have been able to, as I said, even your visa is online. And we have very recently launched a possibility for you to even submit your application online, where you don't have to come in and fill a form and give it to us. So we are doing a lot of things to see how we can make the investor's life so much easier and smoother in the experience they have with the BOI. And the Investor Facilitation Center that we have set up at the World Trade Center is also a focal area where we gather other agencies, line agencies, along with the investors to work out anything that needs to be sorted out or approvals that need to be fast-tracked. That is another mechanism we have brought in to make it more, investor-friendly and in terms of the services that we offer.
Thank you, Renuka. And another question to Revan. Do investors get citizenship to protect the investor interest?
Sorry, apologies. My name is Dania Gunodhan. I head the branding and communications for the commission. Revan just stepped out for an urgent call for another meeting. So he said, please excuse him, but I can answer any questions on behalf of Revan to Colombo Port City. So Anil Kumar, so the first question from Anil Kumar Agrawal is, do investors get citizenship to protect the investor interest? So any investor coming on board to Colombo Port City, we have 4 categories of visas where we facilitate. So they come under the Colombo Port City investor visa or resident visa or employee visa or business visa. And so an employee gets it for the tenure of their employment contract or for up to 5 years. And residents get up to 10 years, investors get up to 10 years, and businesses get up to 5 years. So that's all been gazetted under the Department of Immigration and Immigration visa categories of Colombo Port City.
Yeah, the second question also, I think you
So
can answer
10 years
straight
tax
away.
benefit, carry forward of losses, but visa for 5 years need to provide long-term visa protect investments like to buy. So that's just a suggestion. So thank you. Thank you for that. Yes. And when will it start offering, when will this start for offering business services? That question is not quite
not clear to me, yes.
And the next question is, what are the important agri products in Sri Lanka, please? I think that would be for BOI, Ms. Renuka.
Yeah, Renuka can answer that, yeah.
Yes, so agri products, it is again what you would want to bring in and implement in Sri Lanka. What we have are our main crops are, of course, the coconut, the tea, and the rubber. But here, what we are looking at is, in terms of BOI, what we have facilitated, it could be in the floriculture, it could be in horticulture, it could be in different sectors, it could be in, say, mushroom, strawberries. It depends on what you would want to come and grow and have as an agri project in Sri Lanka. So we do have a lot of companies that even service in terms of the salad leaves, things like that, which are exported in large volumes, which are grown here and sent out. So it is open to the investor to decide on what you would want to bring and grow in Sri Lanka as an agri product.
Yeah, Renuka, thank you for the answer. And in the meantime, Sri Lanka being a country. We do not have a winter season. I think agriculture can be done right throughout all the time in Sri Lanka. That's another plus point in Sri Lanka for this particular sector investments.
There's one last question, I think, from Simon Edward Rosairo. What sort of partnership opportunities are there for foreign investors,
Yes.
such as 50-50 or fully foreign-owned opportunity?
Yes.
Investors can own, they can have 100% shares in the project that they are doing. There would be a limitation only if you are trying to purchase a land. If you are on a leased property, your foreign shareholding can be 100%. However, if you are looking at a purchase of a property to do your project, then you would need a local shareholder with 51% in your company to enable that process. Other than that, there are a few limitations in terms of shareholding for sectors like the mineral sector and coastal related sectors. But there again, the BOI has the mandate to give you a larger percentage. It is generally a 60% that you could hold and a local percentage of 40%. But the BOI has the mandate to evaluate the project and give a larger percentage, even in respect of the limited areas.
So for Port City, because it's an export of services, special economic zone, unlike BOI where it's, servicing both the mainland and offshore, we are only servicing offshore. So our plots are based on a lease, 99-year lease. So it's 100% ownership, whether you're a foreign or a local entity. And even businesses setting up, again, is for offshore. So you can be 100% foreign ownership opportunities. And so there's no visa restriction in Colombo Port City. So your company can be fully, for foreign nationals. And also the visa gives, opportunities to their dependents or their families as well to come on the visa. So not partnership per se, but that's an advantage as well apart from that. So those are the partnerships.
Some more questions come. So we will try to answer them separately. And of course, now the time is almost up, and we will be playing a small video related to the CACCI 39th annual conference, which is going to happen next month, 10th and 11th. You can see the location and the event and how Sri Lanka is looking like for you to have an idea to come.
Welcome to Sri Lanka, where business meets inspiration. Dive into your most creative self in our oceans, where the ebb and flow of ideas match the rhythm of the waves. Brainstorm by the shores of unspoiled beaches. Let the diverse colors, cultures, and traditions infuse creativity into your business strategies. Nature becomes your muse, and every meeting is a canvas for your professional success. Our wildlife becomes your business mentor in nature's classroom. Our waterfalls teach you the art of adaptability and constant progress. Rejuvenate yourself and unlock a wellspring of creativity for innovative business ideas. Experience Sri Lankan hospitality, where every meal and gesture is a masterpiece in graciousness like no other. Sri Lanka, where your hard work finds its perfect reward.
After exploring the world and experiencing new cultures, it's time to bring those insights home and dive into a space where innovation, collaboration, and ideas come to life. Welcome to the 39th CACCI Conference. With a nationwide membership of over 63 chambers of commerce and business associations across the island, FCCISL has a shared vision of Sri Lankan businesses from large to micro-level manufacturing, distribution, and services. FCCISL facilitates regional events, and over the past 50 years, it has facilitated many such events to support the business community and the chambers. Like the South Asian Trade Fair and Business Forum, in August 2024, hosted by the FCCISL. Centrally located in the Asian region, Sri Lanka offers convenient and affordable travel with short and direct flights from most member countries. The organizers have facilitated seamless access to Sri Lanka with international missions, offering visas online or even on arrival for many member nations. Nationals of countries such as China, India, Indonesia, Russia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Japan are entitled to free visas under the free visa regime. Special arrangements will be made with a dedicated immigration counter at the airport, help desks at the arrival lobby, along with our national airlines, Sri Lanka Airlines, together with their code-share partners, will provide special discounts for conference participants. Once you arrive in Sri Lanka, every dollar of yours sparks an unforgettable experience. The recommended venue option for your next conference is Cinnamon Life at City of Dreams. Our professional conference organizers understand the importance of leisure and relaxation during busy academic deliberations. Sri Lanka is indeed a brilliant location in this respect, offering the traveler a myriad of leisure activities and experiences. Cited as a must-visit destination by global rating agencies, Sri Lanka's pristine beaches, marine life, seeing the largest sea and land mammals, ancient ruins, showcasing Asia's rich cultural heritage, religious and cultural monuments, the renowned rock monolith Sigiriya, and the temple of the sacred tooth relic of the Buddha, a popular attraction accessible by trains that wind through the verdant tea gardens that are world-renowned, are just a few examples of your exotic leisure experience while in Sri Lanka. We warmly welcome you for the 39th CACCI Conference.